Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I am your host, Tip.
And this is Brian, and you guys didn't get to see it, but Tim figured out the
I
countdown. We
figured
had
out
a
the countdown.
countdown.
Yay.
So that's why
We're
we
getting
came
there.
on so professional this
That's
time,
right.
unlike the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, finally got the old
Well,
countdown figured out.
yeah, we always look like this this so unprofessional podcast, didn't know when it was starting recording, and we just started talking, and
But
yeah,
what's
but
funny
now
is
it's fixed.
I have some podcasts I listen to where they actually start every podcast like that. Like it's just, there's no theme music, there's nothing. They just start talking and it's like random chatter and then they get into the real podcast. I guess that's a stylistic thing you can do as well.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I think it's just we kept thinking there was going to be a countdown, so we
We botched it every
was
time.
the issue. It was not intentional, but
No, no. So this will be a pretty cool episode. This is a movie that was on my top 10 list of most anticipated for 2026. And we were talking, of course, about Dolly. It kind of had this creepy vibe that reminded me of some of the old school Texas Chainsaw type movies.
oh
And
yeah.
as we will see, when we get into our review, this movie delivered exactly what I wanted it to deliver. So that was great. And we don't have a whole lot, as far as horror news and first chop, but I guess we'll get right into it, Brian. This is our first chop. All right, so you had a. I'm jealous. Everybody I know is going to Universal Studios this past couple of
Different
weeks.
ones though.
Different ones, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. But I'm not. This guy with the two thumbs that has not been to Universal Studios this year. So yeah, you got to tell us about your trip.
Yeah, so we got I think I had mentioned this earlier in one of the episodes that I finally went around I finally got a annual pass for Julie and I, and we figured it kind of, but Julie's schedule, being a school, we couldn't really, blackout days are a problem when it comes to like an annual
Yeah,
pass. So, and especially with Universal, I'm like, we need like that day for travel because we usually drive, or even if we flew, it has to be at night. So we kind of splurged and got the I hemmed and hawed and looked around, and like it was like we are definitely getting the gold at bare minimum, but the difference between gold and platinum was I think like $200 a pass, but the difference is it does include a two things that made it very appealing. One, it included a horror night pass, which was
which is
$80
huge.
right
Yeah,
there at
that's
the
right.
base fee.
Yeah,
Yeah. So right there, I'm like, okay, that now knocks this thing down to $120, even though we'll probably add the express for it, but that does it right there. But then what it does is the platinum at 3 p.m. when you're in the park, it kicks into a Universal Express pass. Now, not the unlimited, but once per ride thing,
right.
which we used on our second day there. Because we went the first day, we met my cousin and her son, and we took them around, showed them Universal. And then the second day was just us walking around. It was like it's so weird when you have like a pass like that. There's such a more casual approach, and it's like
It
Julie and I
is.
were like wandering around. We're like looking at stores, getting beers. We're like, I don't even think we went on a ride until the 3 o'clock hit, and then we went on pretty much everything we wanted to in like 2 hours. It
Yeah,
was like
like
so. I was like,
just like with Carowinds, me and I've gone before with the pass and rode one thing because it was crowded. I rode one ride the entire day, and I didn't feel bad about it. Like I had a great
yeah,
time. I just walked around. We got food. We kind of just looked around, and you never. There is something to be said for that freedom because when you've spent so much money on a vacation and tickets and everything, there is a enormous amount of stress to milk every bit of fun out of that money you've invested. And I could definitely see how, especially people that like live in Orlando or live close to the park, like that would be a no brainer for me. Annual pass all the way, just so I could just walk around in there and not have to worry
yeah.
about the stress of that.
Yeah, and I mean, the park is about 15-minute drive. I think up as fast as 12, depending on like traffic from my brother's house. So that's a plus right there. And it's just like it's like Universal. It's a smaller park, and like so it's like like the first day we did like the tour, where which is always was been one of my favorite attractions like in history. Like it just always has because when I went to Universal as a child, that was all you had there. You had that and the tour was like almost the whole day. Like it would take you for an hour. You'd get out, you'd walk into this, you'd see like different like stage shows along the tour, and then they'd have like some stunt show, the old Wild West stunt show, and the like the animal actors stage and some shops and some, it was called Prop Plaza, where they had like these, like they had like this giant van, and it was like made of styrofoam, but like on the outside was real van, so like kids could lift it up with one hand, and it was like a cool thing. So like I grew up with Universal, and it's always been one of my the Hollywood's been always been my favorite park, and now it's completely different, and now is like, they kind of made this hybrid of a full-fledged theme park where there's full-on attractions. I mean, they have the Super Nintendo area. They have the one of the smaller Harry Potter section, Hogsmeade. It's definitely not to the extreme that Universal gets in Orlando, but it's a different type of park. And I know we finally, like, after EB kept raving about it, like, I hadn't seen this. I saw the Purge version of the Waterworld show, but this time
Yeah.
I'm Julie, like, we have so much time. Let's just go see the Waterworld show. Like, and that was like the first attraction we did that day. Like, we went in, and when it was like we went out to lunch, came back at City Walk, then we came back in and went to eat. I went to, after eating, to go see the Waterworld show, and I forgot what a fun, amazing stunt show that is. Like, you don't even have to know what the heck Waterworld is. They do a small enough, like kind of like explanation on what's going on, to the point where you don't need to see the movie. You don't know that it was a movie. It just seems like it's like a really cool like plot thing. And it's like, how they have like those areas where they're like the splash zone, like you will get wet kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you like why, like, because if anyone goes to it, I don't want to spoil the surprise for them if you haven't seen it. But I don't remember this part at all. But that zone that you're in, the splash zone, I mean, you walk out of there like you dove in, like, because they do some stuff there that, like, I'm like, oh my god, it reminded me of, like, honestly, that Chris Farley sketch on Saturday Night Live when he's like, when he's like watching the whale, and he's like, and he's like, they just keep pouring water on him. That's like, that's the level of wet these people came out of. And what's neat is, and this I feel is what is one of the best things about Universal Hollywood that Orlando just cannot match. So when the show was done, they basically said, I want to give a hand to everybody. And by the way, if you recognize some of our people, you might have seen them in these productions. And like, they listed the people, and like one of the girls, which looked familiar, she was from Cobra Kai.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
like, the villain he was from like 911 and some other movies, and he was the one that looked the most familiar. And I was like, oh yeah. And so all these people are in this stuff. And then when you go out, there's like actually a board, and they'll sometimes hang out there and you'll get to meet them. And they also have the board out there, and it shows what some of the actors that are the main actors in there and what they've been in. So I thought that's cool too. And that also translates. Remember, I did say it translates well to Horror Nights, but it also translates to the actual scare actors. And I have to tell a quick story, and this fits in perfectly with our podcast. So they have some Universal Monsters characters walking around, because of course Universal, that's known for it. On the tour you go by the original sets of the Universal Monsters. And I did discover there's a whole little hidden like Universal Monster full store like in City Walk, which was cool. That's why I
Oh,
sent
that's
you that
cool.
thing where I said
Yeah.
Tim's bathing suit.
Yeah. As
Um,
a creature from the Black
there's a
Lagoon bathing
creature.
suit.
Yeah, which I might have to buy actually. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so there was we saw like Frankenstein and the Bride walking around, but there's a Dracula there that looks really like well done, like classic Dracula, and he was walking around the whole 2 days. And we saw him a couple times, and I'm like, it was always never a convenient time to really go up to him, because it was either a crowd or I just didn't. We were on our way somewhere. But Julie and I decided we wanted to like check in with her mom, because she was watching Obi for us. And so we grabbed a beer at the pub and like sat in this there's like little hidden areas. There's a little like hidden courtyard in there. So we were just chilling, like having a beer in there while we were waiting, because we had some time to kill before we were going to do our next thing. And all of a sudden we just see this like Dracula walking in, holding a little girl's hand that must have been maybe 6 tops. This girl must have been 6. And it was the cutest thing, because she's having this full on conversation with him, and him in full character is like, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but they're literally having this whole conversation, walking hand in hand, like a little kid would be with like Mickey Mouse or something.
That's
And
so
I'm like,
awesome.
Julie's like, oh my God, look at this. And I took a picture of it. I really need to post it. I need to post it on our Instagram. But it was like the cutest thing. And if that wasn't cute enough, right? So then Dracula walks past us. As he walks by, he gives us like a wink, because I kind of waved at him, and he kind of gave me a wink. Um, and so then later, I guess, down in the other section of the little courtyard we're at, a few minutes later, I saw this other little girl. Like I heard her crying, and I turned and looked, and she was terrified of Dracula. And he's sitting there, and her parents are like wanting to get a picture, her to take a picture with him. And this girl is terrified, and the Dracula sits there. I couldn't make out all the things he was saying, but he was like, he sat there for about 10 minutes, calming this girl down,
Oh,
convincing her that it was okay. Next thing you know, she like gingerly walks over to him and and takes a picture with him. And he goes back, and then he goes, I heard him say like, wait a minute, and then like, because I think it got really quiet, so I heard that part. And then like he calls her over, and I could see by his movements, he's basically saying, he's like, since you did that, like, let's take another picture in the Dracula pose. So next thing you know, this guy Dracula and this girl with a big smile on her face, they're going like this, like in the Dracula pose, and the parents are taking a picture, hysterical, and the Dracula walks away, and I'm like, you hear all these stories about Disney magic and Disney characters making people's day. I'm like, that I saw it within a 5 minute thing. Dracula of all characters making these kids days, and I'm like, that's like a memory that like will live on forever. And I've had
yeah.
similar memories at that park as a kid, like when I met the Hulk and like the characters. So
Well, even at
I was like,
Orlando, I've had great experiences with the character actors,
we
especially like
did, yeah.
how
Remember
remember?
the with Josh and Anna,
Yeah,
when when they got part of that weird like alien abduction show or
Alien
whatever.
Abduction Show. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've all been great. Like I've never had
Yeah.
like a really, I've never had a bad experience with the
Yeah,
character
no,
actors.
I think Universal doesn't get enough credit for its character interaction because like this one has a lot. Like they had the whole Scooby Doo gang comes out, and I know they have like, and like I think I said when during Horror Nights how great the um like the Quint and Brody were
Yeah,
at the Jaws thing, and then now there's a Marty McFly and a Doc Brown I saw like that's there, and I think I know they hired they've been having casting calls, so and I think they said they hired a Dennis Nedry and an Ian Malcolm cosplayer to be there down by the Jurassic Park section. So I'm looking forward to that. It also could be because that's the rumor of like a new adding to FanFest as a Jurassic Park
that would be
exhibit.
cool.
But it could be that or the Mega Movie Summer they have there. They have both things there, so I don't know. And I did get to see the Fast and the Furious coaster testing, which was kind of cool. I got a video of that.
I
I
can't wait for
posted that in
that
our
one.
Slack group, but
Yeah.
I'll send you that directly because it's going slow, but like it's still early on. They know they're having some issues getting that thing going. I think. But it's due to open the summer, so I'm sure I'll be back. I mean, Julia and I know we have planned dates, but another bonus thing is that it was cool. We got to see our friend Emily because she was happened to be checking out a movie that night at City Walk. So after the park, we went over and met her for some drinks. We got to see her, so we caught up with her for a little bit, which was great. And that leads into the next thing. So I know you see it on the rundown. It says Murder Tunnel.
Yeah.
That's Emily's name for this tunnel that. So where our hotel was, and like where some of the hotels where you have to like to get to the tram that takes you up to the top of Universal. You can walk it if you want, but it's like a steep kind of hill because that's all on a hill, Universal. Um, there's this like walkway you got to go under an underpass. There's a sidewalk, so it's no big deal. You can walk through. But like when Julie and I were walking up, I'm like, look, there's like a tunnel there that kind of goes off to the side. It looks like it goes right through. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm like, and Julie's like, yeah, I don't know. That looks kind of weird, that tunnel. I said, yeah, it looks really dark in there. And then we see these four like young guys, like confidently walking towards it. And they're like, I'm like, oh, they're going in. Okay, so it must not be that bad. And as we're walking into the thing, all of a sudden we hear them go, oh, they said something like, oh, wait a minute. And the next thing you know, we see them come running, kind of coming out of the tunnel and going the way we went. And so when we were walking back from the park and we were walking, I said, Emily, have you ever seen this tunnel? She goes, oh, that's the murder tunnel. And I'm like, right. And she told the story about her friend that refused to go in there too. He's like, nope, nope. I mean, this thing literally, you stand at one end. It's not that long, but it's so dark you can't see the other side of it.
Oh my
It's
God. There's probably like
crazy.
weird people hanging out in there.
Yeah, that's what we're convinced. I said there's either a rat living in there or there's like some kind of hole. For all I know, that's where the Corey and Michael Myers are hanging out. I don't know. I just know like that thing is like literally one of the creepiest things. I sent a picture to you guys
Yeah.
like
It
from the
does
Google
look
Maps,
super
but that
creepy.
doesn't do it justice. Next time I'm there, I'm gonna walk in front and get a real picture of it for you guys. And I'm just like and I'm not like scared of that kind of stuff normally, but I'm like, there's no way in hell you're gonna get me to walk through that thing because I don't know. It's too dark. Anything could be in there. It's dangerous. You could fall, just trip or something in there. But
Oh,
like this thing is one of the most spookiest things I ever saw. Like that's just so commonplace there, it seems. But anyway,
uh,
yeah. So that's the murder tunnel.
nice, nice. Yeah, I didn't have very much for the rundown other than we got our Scream 7 tickets for the family. We will be going, as you guys are listening to this, we're
Nice.
going tonight. If you're
Oh
listening to
yeah, and
this on
I'll
release
I'll
day.
have seen it the night before, so
Yeah.
Tim and I will have a review next week, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And it's funny that we were kind of, we've been so open about downplaying this movie. Like we don't really expect much, and the trailer didn't do much for us, and this and that. But I'm actually getting really excited now because I guess because the whole family is going, and it's rare for me to go to a horror premiere, especially for a movie of this big, to go to like an opening night. I know it's not officially open night because there's a lot of
Yeah,
Thursday
yeah.
previews, but generally open night of a huge horror franchise. I don't think I've probably seen an opening night Scream movie since the original. I don't think I
Oh
saw
wow.
maybe Scream 2. Maybe Scream 2 was opening night, but I don't
I,
think
I
I
think I
saw it.
saw 1 and 2 on opening night, and then I
Yeah,
saw the last one
but
for
I don't
sure
I
opening
don't think I
night.
saw any of the other ones after that on opening night. So I'm just like really looking forward to just do it. Like I'm sure the audience is going to be great. We didn't get like a super late show, but we got like a 7 o'clock, so it should still be a decent audience. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mainly wanted to go opening night because I'm just think spoilers are going to be everywhere
And
once
they're
this thing
already
comes out.
coming out because
Yeah,
people have seen it somehow. Like this week, I don't know if there's been special previews. Probably in California, there's been some special premieres, and I'm not reading anything, but I saw all I did was see one thing. The guy says, "I saw it. It's awesome. You want any questions? Let me know." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to ask
well,
you anything. I
you
want to
know,
see it." But
I think we might be proven wrong about our ideas that this is not a great entry because they're predicting a really huge box office, and I'm wondering like would they predict that? I know it's a popular franchise, but would
yeah,
they be predicting this big a box office if the movie was terrible? I don't
right.
know. So I'm hoping they're basing that partly on audience reactions for those that have already seen it. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic. I'd love to be proven wrong. I want this movie to be awesome.
I know. I know, because I hope like, I mean, the one in New York City, like, I was like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I definitely liked it, and it was, like, better than I probably expected it to be. So I'm hoping this was the same way, like,
Yeah,
I'm kinda hoping this thing just at least if it delivers a solid movie and there's not a moment where I'm like, "Oh, come on," kinda thing in it,
yeah,
I'll be happy. Like, I'm not
yeah.
expecting much, so, like, it's not that high a bar to reach,
No, no,
like,
that's how I
to
am. Yeah,
impress me, and,
yeah.
like,
I'm
right
I'm
now,
going
so
in expecting to be like it'd be okay. That's what I'm
yeah.
expecting. So if it's anything
That's that
other than
same here,
okay,
same.
I'm gonna be thrilled. So yeah,
Yeah. So
um,
this will be fun to chat about on Monday. Well, and
yeah.
we'll make it spoiler free, of course.
Oh,
We'll
of
just
course,
give
yeah,
our like, like our what we anticipated and how well it lived up and like
yeah,
whether or not like it was worthy of the franchise and if it did stupid stuff or we'll try and keep it so that it's not like doesn't give anything away.
yeah, yeah. So horror news don't have a whole lot this week, other than we do have some. We have been getting some more news about the Halloween game. I know there was a
Oh
screenshot
yeah.
released.
There's a quick video. Did you see that of the guy that kills in it? Looks really
No, I need to
cool.
look at that. I haven't seen the video yet, but apparently PAX East in Boston will have a playable version. So maybe we'll finally get
Yeah.
some hands-on impressions from it, which
Yeah, they
I'm
also
really looking
said they're
forward
trying to
to.
make the largest collection of Michael Myers
Yeah,
cosplayers
yeah, they're
there,
doing
which
a
will be kind of
like
funny.
a I don't know if it's a Guinness official Guinness Book World Record, but it's gonna be like the largest Michael Myers collection, which is kind of a cool thing.
I
And
wonder if it has to be that Michael Myers, or could it be like Michael Myers from Saturday Night
Austin
Live? Like,
Powers, yeah,
can you dress as him? And like, does that count? Like, do they specify? I don't
yeah.
know. They don't. You know.
And then the other thing here is, speaking of our good friend Emily, Eight Eyes is now free to watch on Vudu. So if you
Yeah.
haven't seen that
It.
yet, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, I recommend everyone purchase it or rent it just to kind of give help that movie get some more accolades. But I mean, it's like right now I think it's per purchase is 12.99, but it's free with ads. Like Voodoo tends to do. I'm gonna purchase it, of course. Go my collection there, but I'm gonna have the Blu-ray of it. But I want to get yeah. So if you want to watch it, and you've been hesitant because you haven't been able to find it, because I don't think it's been streaming many places
Mm-mm.
as far as I know. And so now Vudu actually you can get it to purchase or and watch. So that's so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. Yes, definitely one of my favorites that she's done. Really good. Especially if you like that cool like gritty 70s kind of
Which
vibe to it.
leads right into our feature film. That's a great
Yep.
segue, Brian. Yeah. So speaking of gritty, like grindhouse 16 millimeter, this movie was filmed on 16 millimeter. Uh, we were talking about Dolly. Came out. It was. I guess it was made last year, but
Yeah,
just
IMDb
released.
screws dates up. Well, it said 2025. I'm like, the thing didn't even come out yet. How is
Yeah.
this 2020?
I
But
think that I think
that's why I
sometimes
did that.
I think sometimes IMDb counts as the first premiere, or if it was at like a film
Oh,
fest
like
or
at a
something.
festival?
Yeah, because I think it was hitting the film fest circuit before.
That's
Um,
true. Because
but
we did hear about it for some time. So
yeah, yeah, I think it was. I can't remember what the exact film festival it was, but I did see some like positive impressions coming out of that. But yeah, this one is directed by Rod Blackhurst, starring Fabian Therese as Macy, Russ Tiller as Billy, Michelina as Aunt Sadie, Kate Cobb as Rachel, Ethan Suplee as Toby, Sean William Scott as Chase, and Max the Impaler as Dolly.
and
Max
yes,
the
that
Impaler.
William Scott is who you think it is. That's
Yeah,
Stifler.
poor. And I hope this doesn't offend Sean William Scott to be labeled as Stifler, but like to me that's a credit because you created such an iconic role that people still call you by your character's name. How many years later? 30 years later, almost.
Yeah,
I mean, so yeah, I don't know. He'll always be Stifler for me. If Kim and Ket ever do this movie, they're gonna call him Stifler the entire time. You know they will.
100%.
A
Yes,
1000%. I would bet a paycheck on it. So
yes.
it's a, I'm gonna refer. I will probably refer to him as Stifler, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if
It's
that's like.
okay.
I mean, just
He's
embrace
proud
it.
of it.
Yeah.
He's done it for 4 movies, and with a rumored of a fifth movie coming out. So it's like he obviously has no problem
No.
with it. And I
He's
bet you he's like one of these kind of cool dudes where he's like, like remember like Zach Ward was when we brought up Christmas Story
yeah,
when we
yeah,
had him on. Like, he's like, I love that. Are you kidding?
yeah,
Ask me all about it. That's my
yeah,
role. And so I feel like he's like that. And remember, he's been in another huge horror franchise with Final Destination.
yeah.
He was in the original Final Destination. And he was so non-Stifler in that, so it's like, but you almost forget he was in there sometime. But like, and this, he's nowhere. He's
No,
not Stiflerish at all.
no.
He's like, actually, he's like if you took, you know what? It's almost as like if you took out the bad situations, but like the maturity of like a Jim, but like look like Stifler, kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
in American Pie, if we're gonna stay in the American Pie world, because he's like this mature, good father dude in this. It's like he's
you can almost see like, well, he doesn't act like this, but what if Stifler grew up and like got his act together? But I don't feel like Stifler actually would. I think Stifler would be like one
no
of those
Stifler will.
player.
Yeah, he could never truly like unstifler himself.
That's right.
He's gonna. It's
he,
like you
he
can't
would
like.
just be like a 40 or 50-year-old Stifler, like still doing
Yeah,
the same stuff and trying to party and
yeah.
yeah.
Instead of like 5 parties per summer, maybe he'd have two.
Yeah.
Like,
He'd
but
be
he'd
like
still find a
let's
way to stifler.
he'd be like Quagmire on Family Guy. He'd still be like
Yeah,
living the Quagmire life. But yeah.
yeah.
So the synopsis here is Macy, a young woman, is abducted by a monstrous figure intent on raising her as their own child. Now you could have got this from the trailers because from the
Yes.
trailer it looks like some weird, what is it, a creature or a serial killer? What is
Yeah.
this thing? It's a very Leatherface esque character that
Also
basically
kind of barbarian a little bit too, I
little
think.
barbarian. Yep, definitely some barbarian in there.
Especially one scene, which I'm not going to mention to spoil it, but
Uh,
there, yeah.
but yeah, so Macy and I guess Chase is Stifler plays Chase. Um, they are in the woods and come upon a house, and that kind of sets into motion this whole encounter with this Dolly character who basically has a really creepy doll face mask. And I was getting a lot of vibes from that segment in VHS Halloween, Brian. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh
lot of
yeah.
that,
Yes.
where you had this figure like trying to treat this girl as its own personal baby doll. But I will have to say, I thought about something with this, and I don't know if you've read the book, Brian, or if you've seen the movie of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of
So
course. We actually read that in school. I love
yeah,
that.
that's where I had it read it in school, and I was thinking about this when I was thinking about the Dolly character, and I was thinking about how much it reminded me of Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're both like these big hulking figures that have like these childlike mind, and I was like, what does this remind me of? And then I realized it's of Mice and Men. Actually, no, it took me back to remember the old Looney Tunes, the Abominable Snowman, and like when he there was an Abominable Snowman in some of the old Looney Tunes cartoons, and like when he'd capture Bugs Bunny, he'd be like, "I'm gonna love him and kiss him,"
Yeah,
and
that,
he would like rub his head and stuff. And that character, the Abominable Snowman in Looney Tunes, was based off of Lenny from Of Mice and Men, who was the big guy that had kind of like the childlike mind. And I was like, you know what?
great book, by the way. Very heartbreaking if you haven't
Yeah,
read it. But and there's some good movie adaptations.
yeah,
The
it's
John
also
Malkovich one is one of my favorites, but
yeah, that was a
there's a
great
lot
one.
of versions. But I really highly recommend the book. It's
Yeah,
really good.
but I got to thinking about like, isn't this character reminiscent of Lenny and of Mice and Men? Like, even though this is like obviously an evil, twisted version of that, but this big person with the childlike mind, and they don't know their own strength, they don't know their own power, and they're almost like unintentionally hurting the things that they love, like that. It seems like it's such a influence. I don't know if Toby Hooper had that anywhere in mind when he was doing Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but that's all I could think about. Was it really reminded me of that kind of I don't want to say stereotype, but I don't know what you call it. I don't know if it's even
Metaphor, theme, I
trope. I
don't
don't
know.
know trope, or I don't even know
Trope,
what.
yeah.
I don't know if that whole thing though. That it just reminds me of Mice and Men. That's why I finally like. I kept having to go clawing my way backwards to see where that came from. Like, if you guys could think of any example before of Mice and Men, which is probably unlikely because that's 1930s, I think.
You may want to maybe the original Universal Frankenstein a bit,
A
just for
bit,
the
yeah, true, true,
for that one scene.
yeah.
But at some level, like the Frankenstein character, is not, he especially the way they portray him in the movie is, is kind of like a little sad in the beginning, and he's not trying to do anything bad, and he
It is
just
a
doesn't
good point though. That
understand.
the Frankenstein character, the Universal one specifically, because the book version is completely different. But the
Yes,
Universal
yes.
version, yeah, I would say is very much like that. It's a kind of a I would say monster. If you take the monster element out of it, but a powerful figure who's mentally not powerful, who is
Right.
mentally innocent, who's mentally young, so that they really don't have the mental capacity to match their strength, their physical
Yeah.
strength.
I mean, I'm sure if we could sit here and think of many others.
Yeah.
It's not an original
No.
trope. What
Yeah.
what I think this movie does well is it takes that like basic premise but makes it into like this like gore fest, like creep fest. It's like and it's like the gore is like all these great practical gritty effects, which I love. And
Yeah.
it's
This
like they
thing
don't
leans heavily
hold
into that.
back either, which I
Yeah.
love. It's like
Yeah. No, you could tell the creators of this film had a great love for that old 70s, especially Texas Chainsaw. It's
oh
a
yeah.
very heavily Texas Chainsaw influenced movie, and I don't mean that in a negative way because, as we all know, there's a fine line between homage and theft. Whereas, like, our podcast steals directly from Coaster Radio,
Yes.
even though we
And we
call it a,
flat out admit
we
it.
flat out admit it.
I'd like to say we get we borrow because they seem to be fine with
Yeah,
it.
they do seem to. We've told them to their face we stole it,
Yes.
and they were okay with that. But yeah, I think, but there's always a danger when you're doing a movie where it borrows heavily from that kind of stuff. Uh, is this a copy or is this homage? But this one, man, this one nails. This is nothing in my mind. Like, even though I say it's very reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw in terms of this character, in terms of how much it reminded me of Leatherface. Never once did I feel like, oh, this is a ripoff. Never once. It was all a love letter to that, and
Yeah.
I loved every minute of it. Like, so I yeah, if you're gonna if you're going to draw the line between homage and theft in this one, it's total homage all the way. I know what they were going for, and they knew what they were going for. And as horror fans, they probably knew what horror fans were wanting out of this movie,
Oh yeah.
and that's what they did. So yeah, my hats off to them. They did an incredible job taking the premise established by Texas Chainsaw in terms of these types of characters and just like putting their own spin on it, which I thought was which is really fantastic the way they. I mean, the filming in 16 millimeter, obviously they're trying to go for
Yeah.
that look and that feel. But yeah, this one delivered everything I wanted to. Uh, it's it's one of those movies I felt like going in, the hype that I had placed on it, even based off just the trailer, was maybe I was setting myself up for disappointment because this movie could have easily just not really delivered other than the best bits of the trailer, and it actually exceeded it, just because of all the great gore effects. Like if you guys love gore, and you're in for a
Oh,
treat. You're in for a treat with
yeah,
this one.
yeah, and like I said, it's one of those ones where it doesn't shy away and it keeps going and it's like right in your face gore kind of thing, all practical effects. And I'd love to be specific, but I don't want to since it's like literally not out yet for the but when you're listening to this, I think it comes out a week later. But the embargo finally lifted so we could talk about it.
Yeah,
Like I
we've been
know
yeah.
Cohn's going to see it over the weekend. He got like a preview showing thing near him. So you might be able to find a free preview near you. So I would look that up. But yeah, I'd love if you once you see it and you want to talk about specific scenes, reach out to us on social media because I'd love to chat about it because especially there's one scene I'll just say it's not eyeball related, oddly, but it's another one of my freak out things. That they not only do they do it, but then they drag it out to no end to torment me specifically, I think.
I thought about you, Brian, while I was watching this. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I know
I
you
bet
did.
Brian's loving this.
Yeah, oh, I love it. And yeah, it's wild. And I will say, granted, I mean, if you know anything about horror, you know no movie is ever doesn't have a planned sequel for it in it. And this movie does the best way ever, I think, to tease a sequel. It's
The
like
best. It's the only time I've ever seen it done.
yeah.
I don't
And
even know if I
should
want
we
to.
even say how or
I'm not
just
even
just,
gonna.
just stay
Nah.
through all the credits? Let's
Stay
say
through the
that.
credits is all I can say. I don't even want to reveal the gimmick to it, but
But
it was
listen
brilliant. Yeah,
carefully
yeah,
and stay through the credits. So
yeah.
listen and look through the credits
It was
because
brilliant.
yeah, one of my favorite ways I've ever seen them do a sequel. So that was great.
Yeah. I know it's tough when we're reviewing a movie and we can't really talk about specifics because it's so new. But we've been wanting to talk about this movie for a while. In fact, I wanted
Yeah.
to do it last week. Of course, we had the interview with Owen, but we had
But
wanted to
there's
do
also
the.
the embargo was on it,
Yeah, but we had an
unfortunately,
embargo.
until
We couldn't talk about it, and we had already wanted to do it, and we had to push it out a week, just because of that. But yeah, if you like, and I'm not going to say this is like some intricate plot thing. This is what you're getting is a straight up. I want to say slasher because it's not like you have a killer going around killing a bunch of people. This is
yeah,
more again, more in the Texas chain.
intimate. It's a
Yeah, it's more like the Texas Chainsaw mode where the victims come to the killer, and then they're kind of trapped with the killer, and so you're not. I mean, it's not anything other than what you would expect on paper. It's just done remarkably well, and I'm fine with that. I don't have to have crazy plot twist. I don't have to have crazy 20 different characters. Like if you can stick to a formula and just do it really, really, really well, I'm happy with that. I think most horror fans are happy with that.
yeah. I mean, I think there's this like there's sometimes this misconception that horror fans they now need this elevated stuff or this other thing. Like honestly, this movie, it's in some ways it's just so simple, and that's why it works.
Yeah,
It
simple.
just
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for in a roundabout
and that's
way.
not a negative by any means. That is
No.
not a negative. That is like I like this movie, like you said, it lived up to not only my expectations but exceeded them. and it's in my top movies so far for the year. I mean, I know we're just into to February,
February.
but there's been a number of horror movies that have come out already, and there's a lot on the plate this year. So that this is already an early favorite. I think that I could see being still in my at least top 10, like already. I can't just because it gave me what I wanted. So it's like I can't imagine every single movie that's on the slate that I want to see is going to give me everything. I mean, there's a big one at the end of March, which I think the other tickets already go on sale, which is Ready or Not 2,
Yeah.
which just that's I think I still have that earmarked as probably going to be my favorite of the year, especially since Terrifier 4 is probably not coming out this year at all now. They're not even done with the script. Actually, Damon Leone finally put an end to the rumors of that are coming out. And people thought it was canceled, and I'm like, there's no way they're canceling that movie. So he came out and he spoke, and he's like, look, this is the most. He was basically wrote a thing that's the closest script to his heart that he's done, or something like that, and so it's really meaningful to him. So he's not rushing this. He's almost done with the script, and good. You know what? That's good. That's what makes him a good director.
Yeah, I mean, why would he need to rush it? There's like
Yeah, I
literally
mean,
no reason for him to rush it. Like,
the second one came out how many years after the first one? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
don't no
I
rush.
I have a lot of respect for people that take their own time to make the best product versus what the industry wants them to do, which is churn out a Saw movie every year or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So yeah, but I think you guys, if you love '70s grindhouse horror, if you love Texas Chainsaw, you're gonna love Dolly.
Yes.
It's just a plain, simple, straightforward drive-in type movie. It's done with a love for that era. It's done with a love for that style, and I don't think it goes overboard in that style. It's not like one of those films that like tries to be so
Yeah.
'70s that they have to put film grain on everything. It's not trying to do that. It's filmed in 60 millimeter, but
Yeah.
they're not going overboard with filters and crap like that. It's just done, again, keep it to the basics, keep it simple, and just make a good, fun movie. I would have loved to see this in the theaters. I
I was just going to say
I'm
that
kind
is
of
the one
disappointed.
drawback.
Yeah, it's the only one
Yeah.
drawback of seeing the screener because I'm like, oh my god, this has been so much better with an audience.
Yeah.
But if it
I
comes
mean,
out,
we
I'll go.
could go back.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it comes out in the theater, I'll go see it just to see it with an audience. But yeah, you guys are gonna love this one, so I am looking forward to your thoughts on it.
Yes.
So Brian, what did you have? Well, I just looked at the beer pairing.
Yeah. I
it's,
mean,
it's pretty
this
spot
was a
on,
no-brainer. I mean, it basically, and
and
the
it's in
beer
my
is
neck of the
called.
woods. It's in my neck of
I
the woods.
know. You need to go. You need to go get this and try it for us. It's called Dolly is the beer, and it's from Protagonist Beer. It's called is the brewery. It's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. But I noticed. I think on if you go on their site, it's at other places. Like I think it like has it. It's a couple of bar and grills too. So you may be
Okay.
able to find it closer to you because I know Charlotte's a bit of a trek for you. Um, so anyway, so this one it's 5.2%, and it's Dolly is a house favorite, easy drinking blonde ale with notes of honey throughout. It's almost like Dolly Parton more than it is
I feel like that's what
Dolly.
it's going for. Yeah.
I know, I have a feeling, yes. Just like my last one we had
Yeah.
where we were like realized it was about how to train your dragon and
Yeah.
not yeah, well, I can't be right on all these. It's made with Brewer's Clarix. I'm not sure what that is.
Hmm.
Dolly has been tested to be under 10 ppm gluten, making it easier to drink if you and gluten don't always get along. So there you go. It's even
Interesting.
gluten free.
Yeah. I
So
now
just like this movie, though, it was easy to watch and fun
easy to
to watch.
watch.
I
Went
mean, it's
down.
an
Yeah.
easy beer to watch.
Oh, speaking of Dolly, I just
Drink. Sorry, not watch.
speaking of Dolly Parton, I just finished her book, Songteller,
Oh, I gotta get that.
which is her life in lyrics, and it goes through like 100 of her songs, almost 100 of her songs, and she just tells little stories about what inspired them, and she talks autobiographical things about her life. It's really good. If you're a Dolly fan, it's fantastic. Like
Do
it's
not
super.
be. So-
Yeah,
The
how could you
woman is
not?
wonderful. I mean,
But actually listened to the audiobook because she narrates it, and
oh,
which was
that's how I
great.
gotta get it, I
Yeah, which was
think.
great to hear her because she's just basically, she's so funny anyway. She's got such a
Yeah.
great sense of humor that all of her stories have this like charm and wittiness to them. So yeah, I highly recommend Songteller, the Dolly Parton. I think it came out 2020. It came out a few years ago. And it's been in my backlog to read or listen to for a while now, but I just finally got around to it. But
Yeah, and
just in time
and
for this episode. Coincidentally enough, it wasn't because of
perfect
this.
timing.
Yeah,
Everything just worked in right.
yeah, it did.
So I couldn't really think of a good fan topic food to this because like I was thinking along the lines of like, what am I gonna do? Say, hey Tim, what happens if you got trapped in the woods with a guy wearing a woman wearing a doll mask? You know,
Yeah.
what would you do? Because you got me so into Leatherface. I was like, I almost said a guy in a Leatherface mask. Yeah. So, if you had, I said, you know what? Well, that's the whole reason why we opened up this final segment to kind of keep it fresh to the other thing. So I'm going back to a good old classic trivia question for you out
Nice.
there, and we'll give you guys the answers next week. So, and the question is, so this has Sean William Scott and Ethan Suplee are in this movie. So I said, what other two projects did Sean William Scott and Ethan Suplee work on together? There were two. And I went
Mm,
back to the old school Oracle of Bacon that helped us so many times in the early years of Civil War to get
nice.
this answer. So there are two projects that they worked together on. See if you can get them and let us know.
Nice. All right, guys. I know it's a little bit on the shorter side, but we have some great episodes coming up this year.
Yes.
We're kind of back on schedule into a regular cadence now, which is nice. We've kind of got the squadcast stuff figured out now. Got the audio kind of figured out now, so I feel good about being able to put out more regular episodes, and of course we'll always have a lot of interview opportunities are still up on in the air right now.
I haven't like even been able to answer some of these. I feel bad because like they've been offering us stuff and I haven't like it's been so busy. I haven't been able to keep track of all of them and trying
Yep.
to get them back. And, like so we have a lot of that coming up and then hopefully we'll like we'll have as the summer rolls around, we'll have some trip reports of stuff just because they, keep it fresh. And, then who knows? Because I feel like every year it's different. The chainsaws will come out. We'll talk about that. And
Yeah.
we need to get like the gang back together. We need to go to a good old fashioned roundtable with Emily, Ken, and Cone. Ken has been extremely busy.
Yeah.
So is Emily working, and so we need to get Cone. We can usually grab. Uh,
Yeah.
not that he doesn't have a lot. He has stuff to do. I'm just saying he's just usually doesn't have the same kind of workload
Yeah.
as someone else. That's what we need to do. Maybe the Scream will be able to do it. That might be a
Because I
good
think
one
our
to
last
do.
big round table was Scream 6, right? So
I think so, right? The one we did was that the one we did with Kim and Kat, I think was the last one. Um,
oh, that's
so
right.
yeah, we need
Yeah.
to get that round table back.
Yeah,
That'll
Scream
be
7 round
good old
table would be
round table.
awesome. Yeah, that'd be a perfect one
Yeah,
for
and
it.
we will eventually, I know we teased this, we will eventually get the video episodes going. Just haven't had time to really play around with the new software with this, but we'll get it going eventually. And it's not like we don't have these recorded, so we'd always release some of the video ones
Yep.
later from the
Yep.
older.
Yep.
So,
All right, guys. We'll see you back here soon. Stay out of the woods.
yes.